What was the good news?
Yes, there is a super exciting good news.
What's up? Welcome back to Pilot Podcast episode 19, and we are back with great news and some good news and some little bit of not so good news. Depends on what perspective you look at it from. So Capt.Neha is declared TMU. Okay. So how does it feel?
It's temporary medically unfit. Basically, it is because of the expensive nasal polyp,
Okay.
which is called as the
This is not a great
polyposis.
news. Okay, this is the bad news first.
Yeah. So we have the great news to share as well, but at the moment. So there is extensive nasal polyposis, which is because of the exposure to a lot of dust and the allergy. Due to that, there is something like grape-shaped structures which are developed in the nose. And because of that, it blocks the passage of air.
Correct.
Which goes to your lungs. So the sinuses which we have, so this is a maxillary sinus, ethmoid sinus and frontal sinus. So these are the sinuses which are cavities. So sinus is there in everybody's face, which is normal. But those sinuses are filled with the mucus because of those polyps.
Not for normal persons, but for
Yes.
your case right now, that is the case.
In this case, because of the polyps, the sinuses are not quite well ventilated, and that has caused the entire sinuses to be filled with mucus, and hence it is completely blocked, and I am not able to breathe. Right now I am able to talk properly, but my voice had completely changed like 10 days back. Right now I'm on pre-surgery medication, which makes me prepare to undergo surgery for the removal of those polyps.
So you take shallow breaths.
So I'm mouth breathing partially.
Oh, okay.
So doing that is not really great.
No, it's definitely
because
not.
you end up swallowing all the dust particles and everything.
It also looks bad.
Keeping the mouth open is not a good etiquette, and aesthetically it doesn't look well.
Correct.
So that is one. Other thing is the threat while flying is because of the sinus. It gets difficult to breathe at the lower oxygen levels as well as at the lower pressure. And then when we climb and descend, the eustachian tube is blocked, and then it is swollen, and then there is a problem in the descent, and it gets miserable while flying. So it is when I was thinking that why is this happening and that frequently, because I have never had any medical issues till now. I mean, touch wood. But now when I felt that this sinus and the cold is quite persistent.
So how do you notice something's wrong with you? To how did you identify that?
So on one fine day, I was on a layover, and there were 3 flights we were doing. It was through the night flight. I landed at 3 o'clock in Nagpur, and in all the 3 sectors, I had such a severe congestion in my nose that we had to descend slow, and then it was getting really difficult. I was not able to do RT. I was not able to talk well. Any announcement I was making, cabin crew figured that I'm not well. They came with some medications, and then on a layover I went to take steam, and I was trying hard to clear my nose for half an hour in a steam.
Correct.
I was still not successful in clearing the nose.
Right. You didn't have the feeling of having a clear nasal pathway.
passage. It was still blocked.
Right.
I was wondering, this is something abnormal.
Yeah, and when you fly with nasal congestion, it so happens that there is immense amount of ear pain as well, right?
Yes, while descending, and that can cause the rupture of the eardrum, which is extremely bad for pilot profession, because if we have partial hearing loss, obviously we lose our license because our medical is not fit. So to prevent this situation from getting worse and getting to the point where it would rupture the eardrum, I had to, visit a doctor, and then I thought this is something abnormal. I have
Okay.
to see ENT
Correct.
specialist.
Correct.
Then when I saw, and the doctor, Dr. Rakesh, my husband, so he took me to the ENT specialist who he knew,
Correct.
and then she put a scope in my
Okay.
nose, which has a camera on it, and then that scope can see in the nasal passage what is there in it.
Correct.
So through that scope, we were able to figure out that there is a growth in the nose, which is polyp. And
Correct.
then she said there is extensive bilateral polyposis. That means on both sides
the
it is filled.
nostrils.
Correct.
It is not that only on one side there is a polyposis. It is on both sides. So both the passages are blocked.
Yeah.
And she said, no, you have to be on medications. Then after, she put me on medication of about a week, which was like steroids and all, which cleared it up to some extent. And then I did a CT scan. Despite of that, all the sinuses looked filled with mucus.
Correct. Correct.
After those 7 days of...
So while during airline career, if or even pilot training, if anything like this happens, it is assumed by the authorities such as DGCA, FA, that you will be self-declaring these things.
Yes,
Yes,
this
yes.
thing
Right.
happened. So I declared it that this is happening, and to the company as
Correct.
well as then company doctor will check all the reports.
Correct.
So after checking, immediately he put me on a medical leave, because as per
Correct.
the reports, it shows that this is a name, these are the
Yeah.
reports, these are the scans.
Correct.
And yeah, he saw that this is extensive polyposis, and because of which the entire mucus, all the sinuses are filled. And
Correct.
this
So
is
what are
the
the
situation.
types of medical unfitnesses, like TMU? How do you define
TMU
TMU
is
as?
temporary medically unfit. So in your anytime if you're flying now, I was perfectly flying well, right,
Correct.
before this happened. So I was on a class 1 medical assessment. But now when this happens, if I continue to fly, it will be even worse.
Correct.
Like
It could damage
rupturing,
your
it can
eardrum.
damage the eardrum, and that would be permanent medical unfitness.
Correct.
There is no way to come back from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
To prevent that from happening, before it gets worse, you need to make corrective action. So this is and there are various types of medical conditions because of which there could be temporary or permanent medical
Correct.
unfitness, which is because of the heart related issues, because of the other issues like fractures, which over time they
Yeah.
do come back, so
Correct.
the one who get fractures.
So now how your medicals will change?
So now, as I spoke to the company doctor, he advised me, now you will need to undergo this surgery, after which this is called as FESS, FESS
Okay.
surgery.
Okay.
And that's the name of the surgery. And once this is performed, thereafter there is minimum of 6 weeks of cooling period which I have to let it go before I would apply for class 1 medical,
Okay.
after doing all the reports and tests which show that it's all cured well.
Okay.
So generally doctors would say, no, it will be cured in like 15 days or so. But
Correct.
when you are exposed to that low pressure, there are chances of bleeding. So like for example, if there are grape-shaped structures which are from your in your nasal passage attached to it. Now,
Sounds gross.
now there is an endoscopic surgery which has that blade on it and which removes all those things. Okay. So obviously there is an injury to your nose.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So that blood being fluid, it always moves from high pressure to low pressure. So whenever you're exposed to low pressure at higher altitude, there is a possibility to bleed. So until it is completely cured, I would not be completely
Correct.
fit to fly.
And is this 45 days term
6
which is for
weeks.
6
For this
weeks?
surgery.
Okay, for this
For
is
every surgery or any procedure, it is different. That
Okay.
will be decided by the aviation doctor of company, and they will send you a mail saying that so and so is the time period you need to let it
Correct.
go. And accordingly, depending on the company policy, they will put you on medical leave.
Correct.
Yes, and
So-
for a pilot, if they are feeling sick or they are not feeling well, so they get sick leaves, right? Which
Yes.
in a year, how many sick leaves does an airline provide?
So this depends on airline policy,
Okay.
and the one I'm working
Hmm.
with currently. So 12 sick leaves in a year
Okay.
are provided. So now as per my cycle now, all the sick leaves will go, and followed by
Okay.
that there will be whatever my other leaves would
Mhm.
also go, and
Okay.
then so it is still a paid leave till
Okay.
about 6 months.
Okay.
But within 6
But
months,
you won't need 6
I
months
won't
more,
need
right?
6 months,
Yes.
definitely. And then it is a different policy depending on company.
Okay, so how do you get paid in this time? Like regular salary?
So whatever are my annual leaves.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now I have
And again, this
certain-
depends on airline to
Of
airline,
Of
right?
course, this depends on airline to airline. So generally, the airlines, what they would do, whatever are the annual leaves,
Mm-hmm.
they would use them all in this sickness.
Okay.
And once you're fine, then you fly continuously.
So after that, you don't get any leave, or how is it?
So whatever are used, those will be used in this
Okay.
period. And then later remaining leaves you get.
Okay.
Okay.
If in case all are used, then...
So like now you
Yeah.
fly for 3 weeks and you get 1 week off now, right?
yeah, I'm on 1 week
yeah,
off a month
a
contract.
month contract.
I'm
So
not sure whether to talk about 1 week off a month
Okay.
or whatever. But
Okay.
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 I fly for, as per the
Yeah.
contract, 1 week off
Yeah.
I get in a month.
In a month.
Yeah. So
Now in future would you be getting that 1 week off or you won't?
So it depends on how many leaves I end up consuming till the time I again resume flying.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
And as you said, like after 6 months, the FIP kicks in, right? Like that is when the
not after 6 months. FIP is after 2 months. Mhm.
okay.
So after 6 months, the Pilot Benevolent Fund, which is this current airline policy, wherein the other pilots who are flying, from their salary, there is a contribution, voluntary contribution to the pilot who is temporary unfit or permanently unfit, is paid to
Okay.
that pilot, which is about like, again, ye bahut airline specific.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I,
Right.
for us, when we were training, there were like 30 days we used to get, right, at L3RS.
Yeah.
We used to get like 30 days of
30
leave
in full flying, like
Yeah.
a whole CPL.
in the whole CPL training.
Correct.
So in that 30 days, you can use as a sick leave, or you can also use it as a personal time off.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
see.
But if you are not well, they'll tell you upfront, please don't come. Okay. Take rest, take proper medication. If there is something serious, visit a doctor. And so flight schools are pretty much chill when you are sick. So they do take care of you when you
Yeah.
are.
They are cooperative.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
When
So
you
to sum it all up, you still get
Next
paid
week.
you still get paid in the meanwhile, correct?
Yes,
And-
yes, I do
Okay.
get paid. Yeah.
Okay. How much you get paid?
Let the audience guess in the comments.
That's as per the contract. We get paid.
Okay.
As whatever is the contract of that
Achha.
particular pilot,
Yeah, good answer.
get paid for that.
Okay. Okay.
And what was the good news?
Yes, there is a super exciting good news to Indian aviation and to the
Okay.
world.
Because good news, we considered something else.
Not enough. So
Not yet.
the very good news to the entire world and to the world aviation and Indian aviation is the massive order, which is the breakthrough order by Air India of 470 aircrafts, 250 of Airbus and 220 from Boeing, out of which 40 airplanes of Airbus 350, which are wide body airplanes, which is my favorite, and the 20 plus aircrafts of Boeing 787. So this is a massive, massive order, and this is going to change the game of Indian aviation for sure.
Yeah, in the history of aviation, this is one of the most significant
yes.
order. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And because of that, there is a massive job openings in US. 1 million
Yes.
job openings in US
because of this order.
because of this order. Yes.
Correct.
Which is
And what
amazing.
this tells us about the future of aviation is there will be more number of vacancies in the coming 1 to 2 years.
Absolutely.
Maybe it will start. It has already started. Like
Correct.
last month, there was a vacancy for a CPL holder from Air India. Okay, for CPL holders, right?
Mhm.
And people were biased towards A320 for type rating because they didn't have any other option. But now, as Air India has placed order of Boeing, okay, so they might also opt for 737 type rating.
Yes. So now Air India Express has come up with the first time vacancy after
COVID.
4 years for trainee first officers, for CPL holders, which is a game changer again. So you have a bigger opportunity coming in. And on the top of it, earlier when people used to ask me whether they should go for Boeing type rating or Airbus, like Boeing 737 or Airbus 320, my inclination was towards Airbus 320 because of the number of aircrafts in the market are more. Number of operators in the market are more who have Airbus 320. And the more number of aircrafts, the more opportunity you get and the more vacancies are there. So because of that was there, but now due to this order, it has changed the game. The one who are 737 type rated are getting an opportunity to apply for Boeing 73. They are getting an opportunity to apply for Boeing 777 or Boeing 787, which is amazing. Like if anybody gets that aircraft to fly for as a
Yes.
first aircraft on wide body
Correct.
and get to fly the world, it is amazing.
Yes,
So-
it's mostly flying on the international routes.
Yes, it is. But considering if they have those many numbers with 737 rated pilots, then they would take it. Otherwise, they would be on narrow bodies first for a few years and thereafter will be
Correct.
upgraded to wide bodies. So in aviation, there is always an upgrade happening and
Yeah.
you should always look forward to it. Because if you are there on as a first officer, you would look forward to become a captain.
Yeah.
Or if you want to upgrade to a wide body as a first officer, and thereafter upgrade is to a narrow body captain, and thereafter
Then
upgrade is to a
Correct.
wide body captain. So it goes that way in the airlines which have narrow body and wide body
Okay.
at the same time.
Correct.
So it is an amazing opportunity to all the aspiring pilots and the ones who have decided to become a pilot. They should definitely not waste a lot of time and start with the training.
Absolutely.
Yes, and do you guys remember like when we started this podcast, like during the COVID time?
Yeah.
So we used to tell students who were like skeptical whether they
Yeah.
should go for the pilot training or no, whether the investment would be a great
Correct.
investment or no.
Absolutely.
So we told them that this is the best time to start
Correct.
during COVID. Like our students, like they are already training in the US, right,
Absolutely.
and Florida. So they all are about to complete their CPL in a couple of months, and once they are back to India, they will have a number of vacancies
Enough
open for them.
number, yes.
And looking at the current market, within like 6 months to 1 year, they would definitely get through an airline.
Correct.
Absolutely,
correct.
absolutely.
If you are someone who's having your CPL already, roll up your sleeves and get onto it. Like amazing time right now, like great times. And sure, it is gonna last most likely. It seems like it'll last. Again, things can change overnight. If there is anything before that, get into an airline. Okay, like good times come, they last for a certain period of time. Then the something happens, again goes down. But right now, it seems very promising.
Climbing,
is
yes.
very promising.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Air India is bringing A350, like first A350 in
Yes,
India,
that's
and that
amazing.
too, it's gonna be delivered by this year end. That's what the news says, but let's see. So that would be the first A350 in Indian aviation.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a game changer. Like nowadays, if you want to know, if you want to go to the countries which are in Europe, towards west of Europe, or towards USA, then you have the option to go to Middle East, and then from there connect.
Yes.
Correct.
There are very limited options from India to go direct
Correct.
to these countries, though Air India has some flights and connectivity to certain cities. But with this order, the entire hub and spoke model will be focused in India, and India will become hub of international travel pretty soon, considering this order. So right now the hub and spoke model is the Emirates and Qatar, they
Yes.
are having a monopoly in these.
Correct. So
in
hub
their
and spoke
respective-
model is, explain a bit, because
Yeah.
so hub and spoke model is, there are hubs like Dubai, Delhi, okay, and it is assumed that there will be basically load is passengers, okay, that will move to a concentrated place such as say Delhi or Dubai, okay. So and from there it'll connect another hub, okay. So say New York JFK is a hub, okay. So there will be high load considered from Dubai to JFK, okay. And then passengers around Dubai will fly to Dubai to go to JFK. This is hub and spoke model. It looks
Right.
like a cycle wheel, okay. So like all the spokes come to the center of the cycle wheel and then go outward
Okay.
everywhere the same way. So Dubai is a good hub, right? That's why Emirates has high capacity airplanes such as A380, right? Because that airplane can carry higher number of passengers or higher load from Dubai to whichever place that they are going. Okay.
Yes.
And again, New York is another hub. So hub to hub is connected, and then hub to other tier 2 cities or tier 1 cities are connected. That was one of the model.
Yes.
Apart from that, then there is another strategy where small cities connect directly to small cities also. But in that case, narrow body airplanes are preferred.
Absolutely.
So neither is bad. They're all good models, but what is more viable for any particular airline, that depends on that airline chooses their fleet.
Yes, absolutely. So generally for a longer routes, it is hub and spoke. For shorter routes like India,
Correct.
India has such a huge market for
Correct.
domestic air traffic
Correct.
that in India it is no longer hub and spoke model.
Correct.
It goes from anywhere to anywhere. Now you tap onto any flight
Yeah.
booking app. There are flights from any 2-tier or 3-tier cities to another 2-tier city.
Yeah, like say
So-
if we are speaking about Ranchi to Jabalpur.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are flights
Yeah,
like that.
right.
So-
I mean, that's great. That's
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah,
actually.
that's amazing. And
Is there a flight really from Ranchi to Jabalpur?
three ATR के बहुत flights हैं.
I think this Hyderabad Vijayawada has a flight.
Yeah, but Hyderabad is not a like.
Okay, tier 2.
Yeah.
If you want to check.
You have, I guess, again, Rajkot, Hyderabad.
Ranchi to.
Now that was just to give an example. Like maybe there is a flight from Ranchi Jabalpur, maybe there is not. Okay, but yeah.
I'll give you one example. Of,
अच्छा छोड़ना है यार रांची
हाँ, ठीक है।
जबलपुर ओके भूल जाओ भाई
Okay.
लोग रांची जबलपुर नहीं है फ्लाइट
अरे ठीक है So basically hub and spoke model is for the longer routes, and in India, because of the number of travelers traveling by air, now even the smallest of the cities, like from Nagpur to Nashik, there is a flight.
Correct.
So there are flights everywhere.
Everywhere.
And
Yeah, it's got point-to-point model where they connect tier 2 cities with tier 2 cities.
yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So India has that model which is running really well with the current ATR flights,
Correct.
ATR 70 to
Yes,
600 flights. It is point to point, connects from one
Correct.
smaller tier, 2-tier cities or 3-tier cities to the other ones.
Yeah, so point to point model, okay. coming back to the point.
Yeah, your favorite aircraft is A350. So, if given a chance, would you move to 350, or are you planning to move to 350?
I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, now 350 is officially in
Well,
India.
remember that the company sent you candles when you got sick.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
so you've got to have some reciprocity towards
I
the company.
I really.
No, but it always is
love-
there. The company that gives you your first job
Is always special.
is always special.
Yes.
For sure. Because it's like the person who becomes pilot after 12th has seen a lot of transition in very short period of time.
Absolutely.
Right? Like just 12th pass, and then you go to flight school, and then eventually get recruited. It's like the first money
Yes,
earned is
yes.
from that company, and then that is very valuable because
Yes.
for sure. So whether your love for the aircraft oversees the love for the company or otherwise will probably right.
Yes, I do have the love for current aircraft, that's Airbus 320, as well as the love for the current airline. No doubt about it. I just said, yes, I would love to fly Airbus 350 sometime in my lifetime.
So
There is nothing wrong in it.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely. Because to get to the next step, you have to get away from the previous step, right? Like the step that you're standing upon and the ground that you're standing upon. For sure, there is a constant change in life.
Like as we said, we are always transitioning. So since the day we started our pilot training, so every day we learn something new. We practice it and then move on to the next step.
Correct.
So right now we are about to get our DGCA CPL. We already have our FA and the Canadian CPL. So maybe next month we might be going for a type rating. So that's another phase of transition. Like we'll learn how to fly a plane, a larger plane like the Airbus A320, and
Absolutely.
how the landings are, how the systems are. So everything will be learned. So in those 2 months, and after that, once we are back, we'll be joining the airline, and again the training phase of the airline starts for the next 6 months.
Yes.
So it's always transitioning, right?
Correct.
And then once we are done with the airline training, then we move as a first officer, and then again the senior first officer, captain, then it goes on and on.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why we have to I don't know, have to is the right word. So that's why we often discuss on this podcast on different levels, right? We would sometimes discuss on her level where she is, because if you don't have a goal that where you are heading, you don't have a direction, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we discuss about her level where she is operating. Sometimes we discuss about our level where we are operating right now. Then sometimes we discuss at the level of the one who's just starting now on done with 12th and is looking to join aviation and is looking forward to becoming a pilot, right?
Yes, and if you take an example, like suppose there's a flight from Delhi to New York, and you have to follow a certain track to reach the destination. So if that track is off even by 1 degree, you won't reach New York, right?
Yeah, Florida.
So
I'd love to be there.
so it's very important to give direction to your goal. So if someone's goal is to become a pilot, then make sure he or she does everything that brings her closer to the goal of becoming a pilot.
Correct. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that being said, as we talked about someone who's just starting, and we spoke about the new induction of new airplanes, and so many airplanes the airlines are buying, and those soon will be delivered. How does it matter to someone who's just starting now, or someone who's having a CPL now? That is something that I think we need to shed a little bit light on.
Absolutely, yes.
This is all in our perspective that how it will, but yeah, definitely this will change aviation industry in India drastically.
Absolutely,
Right?
yes.
Like, go ahead.
So for pilots who already have CPL, they need to be extremely thorough with the topics of ATPL preparation as well, in order to get through an airline, because competition is also going to be there.
Absolutely.
Even the number of vacancies are there, number of applicants are also
Correct.
good amount, like in 3,000 plus.
Correct.
So in order to stand in the first 10% of pilots, where you know that yes, you are getting through, you need to prepare yourself, like students need to prepare themselves well, for which yes, we are there. And there is a mental preparation towards being an airline pilot, which is psychometry.
Correct.
So
Yes. The right mindset to become a pilot.
absolutely, yes. So the grooming has to happen in that direction.
Correct.
If in case some people think whether am I fit for that or not, don't worry. There are ways in which we can groom, and
Correct.
there is, human factors, the whole
Correct.
thing, which
Correct.
is there apart from the technical knowledge of yours.
Correct.
So the first assessment of generally all the airlines is written exam.
Correct.
Followed by that, there is a psychometry, and then followed by that, there is a group discussion and interview. So
Correct.
this is a standard format which
Correct.
is for most airlines.
Mm-hmm.
If you are type rated, in addition to that, there is one simulator check as well,
Okay.
apart from these four. So that's
all this is good, but nobody actually starts with these 4 bars. Nobody does. Okay, you earn each of those eventually one by one. Now, as the airlines are inducting more and more airplanes, and the fleet size of Indian aviation, commercial aviation, airline aviation is increasing, the probability and odds of getting a job are higher. Doesn't mean that there won't be any competition. There will be a strong competition. Last year, about 1,100 CPLs were commercial pilot licenses were issued. This year, it'll be same or maybe more, maybe like
No, it's more.
1,500 or something, 1,200 to 1,500
No,
CPLs.
right now, like recently my friend got a CPL. So the time period, like last year also.
Correct.
So right now his CPL number was 20,300 something.
Correct.
So it's around 1,300 CPLs were issued within the span of last 1 year.
Correct.
And
Yeah, so maybe there'll be about 1,500, 1,200 to 1,500. That'll be the number. Okay. Now, 500 airplanes won't be delivered in straight up 1 year, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely, it is distributed over
a period of 5
period
to
of
10
5
years.
Yeah,
to 6 years.
because hypothetically, even if 500 airplanes are delivered in 1 year, okay, the infrastructure is not ready for it.
Correct.
So the government infrastructure needs to grow in order to accommodate for these airplanes, right?
Correct.
Otherwise, if there are no stands, no parking stands, no passenger handling facilities, then where will those airplanes go?
Still, the airports currently are expanding massively.
Yes.
You look at any metro airport, be it Delhi, be it Kolkata, be it Mumbai, be it Bangalore. Bangalore has the new terminal opened recently.
Mumbai has a whole new airport.
Mumbai has another airport going to be open. Considering this, yes, the infrastructure is getting developed to accommodate these aircrafts, but currently it is not. But Bangalore and even Chennai, Hyderabad, there are so many new bays which are opening, so many terminal, and the airport infrastructure is getting better and better to accommodate more traffic. Delhi currently has 3 runways in 2023 beginning. Very soon, the another runway parallel to 29er left 11 right will be open. So Delhi will have 4 runways operational at a time.
Correct.
Yes. When we were in Hyderabad, not so good times, but when we were there, we were looking at the airport of Hyderabad, RGIA. So they have currently, I guess, 2 runways, right? 2 parallel runways. And we were seeing the satellite image of the airport. So on the opposite side of the airport, there is a land which is flattened out to accommodate 2 more runways.
Correct.
So they might be operational from 2025. So there would be massive 4 parallel runways.
Wow.
Correct.
That's amazing.
So the infrastructure will be developed for this all planes like by 2025, and
Correct.
mostly I think this all will like fulfill the international requirements.
And also like human resources, right? There are not say whatever the if 500 airplanes, then 2,500 captains and 2,500 first officers trained on those airplanes already or
Yes,
needed, right? Those are not available. Those are, you could be one of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you are an aspiring pilot,
Yeah.
you need to pull up socks and
Right.
start your career towards this. If you want to become a pilot, if you have the finances in place, then
Right now
this
is
is
the
a
best
time
Yeah.
to start. And do not waste much time right now in thinking and then in figuring out many options.
Yeah.
Just start and get the correct guidance to achieve your goal.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we do have meetup with students at a new training center, CNTAA, the pilot training center,
Correct.
which is in
Absolutely.
Mumbai, which is newly opened.
Yeah.
So we like weekly or like monthly, twice, thrice, we go there, we meet students who needs our advice. And Captain Pankaj takes care of the
Correct.
ground classes there.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So if anyone is in Mumbai and wants to meet us, like we just go there and discuss what all steps he or she needs to take to become a pilot.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So for aspiring pilots, this is a golden opportunity. If they start at this point and complete their CPL in about 1.5 to 2 years, then they will get an opportunity to apply in various airlines which are opening because of this massive order.
Correct. Even
And-
Akasa has like 50 Boeing 737s coming,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And from what I believe is during your time, the opportunities were minimum. And right now, if someone has a pilot's license, a CPL, the opportunities are so much that if he or she has worked upon his skill set, building the personality and the character trait of a pilot,
Correct.
he or she can get into an airline easily.
Absolutely. And it is important to be very consistent, persistent,
Absolutely.
and diligent towards your goal, and should not waste too much time, and get the medical cleared, then start the DGCA exams preparation. Once you clear your exams,
Correct.
then flying can be done in about 6 to 8 months, depending on where you do it. Maximum
6 to 8
about
is
1 year.
too short. Yeah, 1 year sounds
About 1 year.
about good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And recently, there has been queries from lot of aspiring pilots who are in 10th and 11th. Like
Yes.
because
yes.
of the news and everything, they want to become a pilot, but they are they have a year left with them to start because they can start only after their 12th exam.
Correct.
And we also advise them to focus on their 12th and not to enroll in any sort of classes or do anything before their 12th exam.
Correct.
But once they are done with their 12th exam, we advise them to get in touch with us, and then from there we'll guide them step by step.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. What other piece of advice would you give them for someone who is in 10th or 11th right now?
For the same, my advice is you need not start any pilot training preparation when the student is in 10th or 11th
Correct.
or even 12th. It is important that they focus on their health and not make sure that they are medically fit.
Rather, that
So-
time can be utilized to integrate the character traits of a pilot, right? Like developing a personality which will be helpful for them when they start their training,
Absolutely.
right? Like giving good account for safety, okay, being persistent, correct, being punctual, these are the habits, developing habits
Correct.
that will be useful for them when they go for pilot training, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that time can be used for that, correct?
Yes.
There are many resources they can look up to. They can
For
watch
sure.
pilot podcast.
Yeah.
We share amazing content.
Absolutely.
We share pilot stories. So this all stories are based upon our experiences.
Yeah.
Okay. So if like it's rightly said that a person cannot make every mistake by himself.
Yeah, you can
So,
only
yeah,
crash an airplane once,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So
You need to learn from others' mistakes.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's why it is.
Someone said this. It's a quote.
Yes. Yes.
Only the fool makes all the mistakes by themselves. The smart ones learn from the others' mistakes. Right.
Yeah.
If I would remember who said this, I would, but I don't know. So it's just not made up by me. Someone else has this quote.
Yeah.
Another little bit of controversial topic which relates more to the eligibility to become a pilot. Okay. Nobody actually, it's not a controversial, but it's a topic that nobody talks about. Okay.
Yes.
This is about IQ. Okay. I don't even know whether we should talk about this on the podcast or not, but average IQ of a pilot is above 100. Okay. So it's unfortunate for someone to have an IQ lower than 100, but if that person wants to do pilot training, it's really hard. It's extremely hard. So
How to know that what is the IQ of an individual?
how to know? You can perform any IQ test online and the person would come to know their IQ. See, everyone likes to hear that you can do it. Everyone does.
What?
Everyone likes to hear that you can do it.
Mhm.
Okay. And yeah, but if someone is having an IQ of 80, 85, is the sad truth. But how much ever money the person's parents have or the person himself has, it would be really, really difficult for that person to become a pilot. And IQ is something a person is born with, which we call as fluid IQ. And most airlines in their assessments, those tests are called different tests, no matter what it is called. It can be called a PILAP, it can be called a compass, it can be called basically CAS, ADAPT, whatever the test might be called as. It primarily checks the reaction time, IQ, situational awareness, और क्या होता है? Orientation, personality, psychometry basically,
and orientation,
multitasking, right? And eventually, the HR department of any airline that is performing that test is gonna get a report on person's IQ. Okay.
So everything is there in the software. So even if one of the parameter is low and other is high, so there is all permutation and combination. So if all the traits come together and then they see a report, so if all the traits are matched, then only he or she passes the assessment and then goes further for GD or PI.
Now, the new topic, speaking of Akasa is having 737 MAX, correct? Now, 737 MAX, there are certain type rating training institutions that are demanding students to have multi-engine rating before going for the type rating. This is unprecedented. Until now, it has been always like if you are going for the Airbus, you do need multi-engine,
rating.
either the endorsement or 15 hours on the airplane as an experience. But what is up with this new requirement of having endorsement of multi-engine
For
Because as-
Boeing.
for Boeing?
Yeah,
Yes,
because
correct.
as far as I know, Boeing required single engine CPL.
Exactly,
Right? They don't
exactly.
require multi-engine
Yeah.
rating.
That has always been the case.
That has always been the case, but now it's okay, there is this type rating institution. One of our students were going for a type rating for 737, and she said that she wants the type rating institution asked for endorsement on multi-engine for Boeing 737 rating.
Okay.
So now, hey, if you are doing multi-engine anyway, if you are done with 15 hours, just give the GFT day, GFT night checks, IR check, you
Yeah.
get an endorsement, right?
Correct.
So it's always advisable, if you're spending the money to get the 15 hours,
Correct.
get endorsement as well.
Correct.
Don't just stop at the 15 hours mark and
Right.
little bit stretch and you get the endorsement. So it will be helpful. Even the new Air India vacancy that came up is requiring endorsement, multi-engine endorsement. So increase your chances to basically get
Apply in
recruited.
various
Yeah.
airlines.
Yes, if they have a multi-engine endorsement, they can go for any aircraft type rating, I guess. And,
Correct.
And they have more number of opportunities.
Absolutely.
So it would take lesser time for them to get into the airlines. So if you do your multi-engine endorsement, or if you go for a multi-engine CPL, you increase the odds of getting into the airline.
For sure.
You increase basically the chances to apply in various airlines.
Yeah. Another one of your student who was applying for ATPL, okay, and the doubt popped up that so he has probably like more than 200 hours, because anyone who does their flying from the US has more than 200 hours in during issuance of their CPL, okay. He was applying for his ATPL, okay. He is an airline pilot, so he is applying for his ATPL. He flies 777 Karan, okay. So DGCA considers only 200 hours from the CPL, whether you have flown 250 or 300 hours, it doesn't
Yes.
matter.
Yes. That is because the requirement in India for CPL is 200 hours.
Okay.
Students who do their flying in abroad, they have 250 or 270, 280 hours or close to 300 hours. So those, towards the issue of ATPL, there are two requirements. One is supervised takeoff landing requirement,
Correct.
and other is total hours requirement.
Correct.
So for supervised takeoff landing requirement and total hours requirement, only 200 hours out of total hours will be counted towards the issue of ATPL
Got it.
and not the total hours.
Got it.
So
Okay.
irrespective of whatever hours you have done, it will not be counted. For your ATPL, it will be there in your logbook, but they will not consider that you have those many hours from flight school, because of which we will be able to
Correct.
issue you
Okay.
the ATPL.
So 500 airplanes by Air India, 50 airplanes by Akasa, another about 200 airplanes by another airline. So in short, we have about Indian airline industry has how much? About 700 to 800 airplanes on order.
Absolutely.
I mean, because as we have seen, like the aircraft deliveries the airline takes in a month is around 3 to 4.
Depends on
Okay.
the
So
rate
there's
at which
there's
the
no
delivery-
number, like there's no restriction on how many aircrafts you can take in a month.
No.
Okay. Because there has to be infrastructure for that plane, and then there has to be crew for that plane. Because if the airplane is parked at the airport, it's just like bleeding money off
But
the airline, right?
They always plan it in such a way
Okay.
that by the time these airplanes arrive to that airline and the registration process is done, the airplane will not even wait for a day.
Okay.
The
Correct.
induction and recruitment is planned that way well in advance. The
Correct.
planning team is very strong. in such way, and it should be very strong. Otherwise, and there are a lot of parking slots and there are a lot of parking bays at the major airports. Like Bangalore has multiple parking bays and
Correct.
lots. Yeah.
Yes, and from what I've heard is, as long as the plane is in the air, it makes money. Once it lands, it bleeds
Absolutely.
money.
So the transit time needs to be really short in order to reduce the amount of time the aircraft is on ground. So that is the reason why the transit times are reduced significantly nowadays for the domestic sectors and even for the international sectors, so that the amount of time aircraft is on ground is minimized.
Correct.
And hence, the moment the aircraft deplaning, then cleaning, and then again boarding, it needs to be done pretty fast and efficient in order to get the ground time reduced to minimal.
Correct.
So it ranges for the domestic sector, minimum ground time depending on again the aircraft type, but for Airbus 320 it takes minimum of 18 minutes, you know, as per the
For
DGCA.
Deboarding and boarding 18 minutes.
The minimum
Okay.
you can have between
Okay.
chocks on to chocks off as 18 minutes minimum.
Okay. Got it.
But company policies would be different depending on the
Correct.
What's the best turnaround time till date for you?
It has been 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, you can't be less than 18.
No,
Yes.
no.
Okay.
Because that's a
Right.
disease.
Right.
Because it takes that much time for refueling, it takes time for deplaning, it
Correct.
takes time for boarding, like so many passengers, then
Correct.
cleaning the
Well,
aircraft.
passengers are very eager to get out of the plane, right?
Yeah.
So as
But
soon
for-
as before even the chocks are on or the
Plane is
everyone
parked.
just gets up like
Yes.
let's
Yes.
go. I don't know
I mean,
where, but
I have seen this in every country. It's not like specifically for
Yeah,
India,
yeah,
but
it's everywhere.
everywhere. As soon as the plane lands and as soon as it's parked, it's just halted, right?
Not even parked. Sometimes
People
just lands. And
just stand up and they take the luggage and they are in the queue, and then they wait for like 15 minutes, 10,
I
15
don't know
minutes.
Not
what psychological
Yes.
measure would actually solve that problem for good.
because the moment aircraft comes to halt, or even if it lands, then passengers would start putting their seatbelts off, and then they would unfasten it, and then as it is about to reach the bay, they just get up, and then cabin crew has to ask them to wait, stand, because when the aircraft comes to halt, there is a possibility that there could be a jerk while applying a brake.
Yes.
Because the VDGS, that is the visual dock-in guidance system, which guides the aircraft, or the marshaller. So there is a possibility of application of brake, though pilot is not supposed to do and apply the urgent braking unless it is required to do so for some safety reasons. Then there is a possibility if somebody is standing, then they could fall and there could be injury. And that is the reason why they should be seated with seatbelts fastened. But nobody listens to it.
So it's more, I believe, instinctive than logical. So before the logical brain kicks in, people act in an instinctive way that we've
So once-
plane has
yeah.
stopped, let's get up so that we get out of the plane earlier.
But then when they are in the queue, their logical
Yeah, exactly.
brain
It's always
clicks in. They are
sequential.
like,
Yeah.
And then they're not going to go anywhere until the door opens. So
Yeah.
there is no point in getting up
Correct.
before the door opens. The moment door opens, you can get up, take your bag. and
everyone
leave.
gets out in sequence. Like
Yeah.
even if the person is standing and blocking the aisle, okay, the person who is sitting in the seat number 2, he will get out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's there. So let's spread the awareness. I think let's
Yeah.
not do it. Okay, whichever sequences yours get let's as
Yes.
aware whatever.
aviator.
Aware aviators and aspiring pilots and pilots. Let's do this. Let's
Yes.
integrate. Let's be conscious about it and follow the sequence that the row will get down first. Row 2, row 3, and in that order.
That is if there is an aero bridge connected. If in case it is 2-point deplaning, which is from the aft, which is from aft as well as forward.
Correct.
In that case, if you are at the rearward part of the aircraft, then you can get down from behind. So that will be easier for the passengers. And if you're in the forward, you can get down from there. So depending on whether there is an aero bridge or not, you can choose to deplane from the forward, or if the aft ladder is connected, then from the aft.
Yeah. So
From aft.
if you integrate this and help others understanding this, my salute to you. Because it becomes really very chaotic, and then someone's opening the baggage compartment, then someone's pushing the person from behind, and then that person tries to pull it out, then that falls on the sitting passenger's head. And why? Like it's pointless. We are way better than that, right? Like yeah, so let's do that, right? And yeah, that is because last time I was flying, I was on the aisle seat, and everyone got up, and the passengers who were sitting next to me, the window and the middle seat, they were like, "Let's go." Where? They are not moving anywhere. Okay, so they seem to be quite frustrated, but I was like, I'll get up. With all due respect, I'll get up, but it's already congested. Where do I go? Like, yeah, sequential, right? Like, let's be human, smart humans that we are, right? 21st century. Cool.
Yeah,
I think there needs to be some psychological incentive for that. Like in men washroom, those urinals where there is a fly on the pod, so that you aim the fly. No, you won't know it. so that is a psychological solution to a common problem, right? So this problem is not as dangerous, but it's just more, it would make humans seem more humans, right? And smarter humans. Yeah, so passengers, please deplane the airplane sequentially. And I think that'll be all for this podcast, right?
Yes.
Anything else anyone wants to say?
Not for this podcast.
Yeah, all right. So we'll be back with another episode soon. And if you are a CPL holder or just 12th pass or an aspiring pilot, sign up for CNTAA, the Pilot Ground School. Best of the quality training is provided at CNTAA to you for your pilot's journey. Capt.Neha mentors you throughout your training. All the support for your computer number, for your medicals that is needed for the paperwork, we provide it in-house, and that is included with your enrollment into CNTAA. Whichever module you want to choose, whether it is online on demand, it is live sessions, or it is offline, best of the quality training is provided to you for your pilot career. We don't only train for the DGCA exams, but we train for you to become an excellent pilot, an amazing pilot, and have the character traits and the habits of a pilot, which helps you throughout your career. Okay. And this basically, as you become CNTAA student, we all develop a great relation, right? And the mentorship by Capt.Neha is always there until you become captain. Once you become a captain, you don't need us, okay? Then, right? Yeah. So So we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Aviation is pretty small, so we will definitely bump into each other one or the other day, right?
Yes.
And if you are an aspiring pilot currently studying in your 10th grade or your 11th grade or about to give your 12th exam, you can stay connected with us through Pilot Podcast, through our Instagram handles. And once you are ready to become a pilot, you can just shoot us a text and we'll guide you in the best possible way.
Yeah. Be in touch, guys and girls.
Thank you so much for watching it till here, and we wish you all the very best for your pilot career.
Right.
Thank you.
See you.
See you. Bye.